Next one. Donald Trump signed an executive order lowering the cost of prescription drugs approximately 30 to 80%. And they're still mad at him. The left, they're jumping through hoops to get angry at him for this. I don't know how. This is straight out of their policy. Ro Khanna, he's a very progressive Democrat representative. He wants to codify this as law so the next guy can't come in and reverse this. But the Democrat base is still upset. They're saying Trump is acting like a dictator. I mean, I don't know what you want. Donald Trump could cure cancer with his touch tomorrow and they'd freak out. I don't know what else they can do at this point. I think at this point, you just have to ignore these lunatics and go on and do what you're going to do. Because there's literally nothing. You have to come to terms with the fact there is nothing you can do. Nothing to make about 30 to 40% of this country happy. They are gone. They are mentally ill. They belong in an insane asylum. Make asylums great again. Merch is coming soon. There's nothing you can do to make them happy. Now, here's my thing. I'm a free market guy. I am a little skeptical of these prescription drug prices. Just a little bit. By the way, all the people saying that, what happened to Bernie and AOC's Fight the Oligarchy tour? What better way to fight the oligarchy than sticking it to Big Pharma? No, we love Big Pharma. We need to protect. Well, they did that during COVID too, I guess. But I'm a little skeptical of these, right? As a free market guy. Now, to be fair, he's not saying that he's going to place total price controls on them in the U.S. He's just saying, hey, if this is what you're charging people in the Netherlands and Germany and Canada or whatever, this is what you have to charge them in the United States. We are the only country that doesn't negotiate its prescription bills, or its prescription drugs, the United States. However, I think we need to add the other side of that argument there. While it's true that we're the only country that where the government doesn't negotiate the price of prescription drugs, we also make 40 to 60%, depending on what study you read, 40 to 60% of the medical advancements in the world come out of the United States, despite us only making up 4% of the population. My concern here is when you place price controls on anything, what do? Well, you cap how much profit people can make. And I'm sorry, laws of economics don't change just because the right party's in charge. When you cap the amount of profit people can make on something, you remove the incentive for them to continue to invest in that industry, right? So these investors, believe it or not, they're not all of them, but most of them, they're not investing in these pharmaceuticals out of the goodness of their hearts. They're doing it because it's going to make them a profit. When you remove their incentive to make a profit, they're going to go, hey, you guys were doing good work here. Here's the mouse back. You guys were doing great work here, but at the end of the day, I'm not making any money off of this, or my earnings have been significantly reduced. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go invest in tech or invest in real estate or whatever the case may be. I'm going to find new industries to pour my money into, and all of a sudden medical advancements are going to come to a screeching halt in the United States because you've now just removed the incentive for people to make these breakthroughs, the financial incentive. You may not like it, but that's how it is. It's the laws of economics. We can't just change them when it's convenient to us politically. Okay? So it's just something you need to consider here. This is why I'm hesitant this is why I didn't throw this in on the wins category at the beginning of the show. It's why I'm hesitant to spike the football here and call this some slam dunk victory. Because you do. Well, it may help people in the short term. My question is, what is this going to do to medical advancements in the long term? Are we going to see delays in cancer research? No, what people do is they'll go and ask the government to fund more of that. Well, that doesn't really work. There's so much red tape and bureaucratic bullshit when the government gets involved in these types of things. Well, as we've seen with all the Doge audits and USAID and whatnot, a lot of the money doesn't even make it to where they're saying it's going to go. So unless you want to add even more red tape to oversee and see where this money's going, the best way to do it is through private investment, right? What you can do, I think, here is cut the amount of time someone can patent. medical advancements. There's government involvement right there in the market. Government manipulation is the patent industry. Now, I'm not saying you do away with patents entirely, because again, you got to give people incentive, right? So if you right now, if you patent a prescription drug, a medical breakthrough in this country, you are the only one that can sell that in the United States for 20 years. And then you can actually go, your company can pull a couple strings legally in certain cases and get an additional 20 years on there. So if you come up with a prescription drug, you can charge whatever you want for it with no competition for anywhere between 20 to 40 years in this country. That's ridiculous. That's why you're seeing such high drug prices. That's got way more to do with the price of drugs in this country, because we see what happens when drugs go into the open market. And you can see competing brands start selling them, and there's alternatives and generic brands. You can get them for pennies on the dollar. That's got more to do with the high cost of prescription drugs in this country than the government being able to negotiate them. So I think maybe 5 years, 10 years, whatever the case may be. Yeah, you should be able to make your money off of it because you put the money into it. You should get a return on your investment, absolutely. But 20 years is a little absurd. 40 years is completely insane. So let's cut that. Let's make it so people can't monopolize it, so competitors can come in, they can offer cheaper prices, and they'll have to lower their price or go out of business. Do that. That lowers the price in literally everything else. When the government gets involved and puts all these restrictions on the market, that's when stuff gets expensive. I'm losing my MAGA listeners when I'm saying this, but you guys, it's the truth. You can sit here and call me whatever you want, but it's the truth. On the flip side, though, all these idiots that celebrated Luigi Mangione shooting that healthcare CEO in the back of the head because Big Pharma is super corrupt are either dead silent about this or they're angry. We don't know why they're angry, but they're angry. They're certainly not angry because they're economically literate. They're not skeptical of this executive order for the same reason I am. They're skeptical of it because Orange Man bad. So what that tells you is all the people celebrating Luigi Mangione shooting that guy, it had nothing to do with Pharma. That was a convenient vehicle to use as an excuse for them. That was about them having a bloodlust and for anyone who is more successful than them, because it's socialism is the ideology of jealous, bitter, miserable people. And they love to see bad things happen to people who are doing better than them. They just use the unfortunate reality of the American medical system, which, by the way, a lot of the prices jacked up are due to government involvement, not the free market, as an excuse to celebrate somebody who's doing better than them dying. A father and a husband, mind you. Now, before we get into the next segment here, you guys got to see this video of Donald Trump talking about the price of prescription drugs before he signed this executive order. Go ahead.
I mean, I'll tell you a story. A friend of mine who's a businessman, very, very, very top guy. Most of you would have heard of him. A highly neurotic, brilliant businessman, seriously overweight, and he takes the fat shot drug. And he called me up, and he said, President, he calls me, he used to call me Donald, now he calls me President, so that's nice respect. But he's a rough guy, smart guy. Very successful, very rich. I wouldn't even know how we would know this, but because he's got comments. President, could I ask you a question? What? I'm in London, and I just paid for this damn fat drug I take. I said, it's not working. He said, I just paid $88, and in New York I pay $1,300. What the hell is going on?
Oh my god, he's a comedian in another life.
Shit.
He's a comedian in another life. So in another universe, he's a comedian, right? If you believe in that crap. Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, be sure to click the link in the description to get the full episode on Rumble. If you prefer to listen along, you can actually get us on Spotify, Spreaker, and iHeartRadio. You can also go to www.outlawstreamers.com to learn more about not just my show, but tons of other great shows and all the exciting projects they have coming up. Follow my socials at Caleb Isn't Funny on Twitter and Instagram, at Caleb Salvatore Comedy on the Chinese spy app that is TikTok, and be sure to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thanks, and we'll see you every Saturday for brand new episodes of That's Based. Peace.